favorite sound.
The fairy dust. Yo, welcome to Word of Mouth Podcast with Nate and Shelby. We are back in the building. Yes, and guess what?
Back
We
building.
we want to put a part two on what we talked about in the previous podcast. We were talking to people that were dating, and we mentioned in that podcast at the beginning that we wanted to save the conversation for married people to another podcast. So this would be part two.
Because we're experts on marriage.
Yeah, yeah.
We did so well ourselves, didn't we?
She said we're experts. Yeah, we
Yeah.
are. Yeah, so we want to
We're
talk
down in flames.
for real to some married people or just about this married thing in this culture, in this day, and the importance of it, the longevity, the time, the time.
Social constructs.
Ooh, that part, what she said. We just want to talk about all of it and the importance of it. Because a lot of people, honestly, Sheb, a lot of people are on the fence. I talk to people that say, hey, man, I'm getting married. I just had a couple call me the other day. Can you marry us?
Mm.
And I said, sure, absolutely. But I don't marry anyone unless I do 3 sessions of counseling. I have to do 3 sessions of counseling. Oh, by all means, let's do it. All right. So, I mean, I'm good with it. If you want to get married, I'm good. Has nothing to do with my view of marriage.
Mhm.
I think that covenant is more important than presenting something before people. Because at the end of the day, those people are not going to be there when you need them.
Mm. But
And I
God
found
will.
that out the hard way.
Yeah, but God will be there.
And God will.
And covenant includes him.
And it took me years to find that out.
Mm.
I thought that all those people that was rooting me on, even I think we call them bridesmaids and
Mm-hmm.
what's the other ones?
Groomsmen.
Groomsmen. I ain't get a call from them when all hell broke loose.
Mm.
And we were getting ready to go to the courthouse. I can't name a groomsman. I mean, my best friend, he did, he shared some stuff with me, but yeah, I didn't see those people
Yeah.
saying, "Hey, come on, let's go out, let's talk, let's have a." And they stood there with me, right?
Right.
Did you have bridesmaids?
yeah.
And
Mhm.
wow, amen. So we gonna dig in it. We gonna dig in it. Let's talk about it. Shell, my first question:
Yes.
what is marriage to you? Marriage to you?
Marriage to me is a worldly social construct that is out of a ceremony that's officiated by a man who gives you, I guess, legal rights to do certain things.
Mm.
Doesn't have the meaning it did to me when I actually participated in it.
Mm. Okay,
So to me, it's more of a ceremony for
everyone.
hoops and hollers and whatever.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And I was told when I did get married, especially the second time, I was told that it was more about the woman because that's her day. That's what I
Yeah,
promise you they told me.
that's the social construct. Yeah, it's her day.
It's her day.
Mm-hmm.
Like we show up,
Mhm.
even though I was a groom. We just got to show up.
Right,
But it's all about her.
right.
So make that make sense to me that
You're entering a relationship that's supposed to be about both of you, but yet the first day of it, it's all about her.
can all the way. Please break that down for me.
Break it down.
Please, like what? Is that already
Well,
putting
I
me
think
down?
it goes back to the dowry situation and stuff like that when marriages were arranged and you had to have the family and, okay everything. And it went on for sometimes generations in families where they planned that kind of stuff.
Mhm.
So I think that's kind of where it comes from because back in the day, like she wasn't even really allowed to know who she was marrying, really.
Mm.
And so it kind of had to be about her because she's signing up for something that he
Right.
had no control over.
You're
So
right.
she's literally submitting everything about herself to a man that she knows nothing about.
Wow.
So I think that's where it comes from. But yeah, we've made it into this grandiose production that's all about the girl.
Mm. Mm. Okay. All
And
right.
and honestly, chicks invest a lot of money into that day
Yeah.
and a lot of personal um getting themselves together and things like that.
Yeah. I agree. I agree.
Mhm.
Um, just to give point to that, my tux was actually free because everybody else's, and then I got a haircut. Wasn't too much more that I had to pay for it. That was it. Like I didn't spend nothing else on me.
Mhm.
Maybe the what they call before you get married, that little party that you have.
The bachelor party?
That part probably spent some money then, but
Oh, I'm sure you did.
but other than that, yeah, that day, man, it was just the suit, the haircut, maybe some toothpaste and toothbrush. But that was it. I didn't pay too much, but man, the women go through the works.
Mhm.
Like it's perfection that day. And the same question to that is, after that perfect day for you and it goes to crap in a year, how do you feel? Just the woman, because remember, it's her day. How do you feel when it goes to crap after 5 years? Do you remember the day?
No.
Oh, no, no, I don't remember the day. Okay.
No, if I'm completely honest, I mean, we had a pretty decent, nice wedding, and it flew by, just the whole thing in itself, that whole day.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't even really get to stop and enjoy any of it, which I think is typical um,
Right.
for those moments in life. But I don't think I really ever thought about the marriage ceremony when the divorce was happening.
My goodness. Ooh. Now, married people, let's give a disclaimer, Shell.
Hmm. No, we're both divorced
We're
failures.
right. For married people, please understand, um, everything is opinions. And we're
Or
not,
learning experience.
yes, this is all learning experiences. And we're just talking about it is it in its entirety to give clarity to certain things so that people can get a better understanding. Um, and I'll keep saying, to me, covenant is more important than the ceremony. I'll
I
say
would
that.
agree, absolutely. But that wasn't my thoughts prior
Mm-hmm.
to my divorce. But
Gotcha.
yes, now since I've been out of my marriage, I definitely think covenant is much more important than the other.
I agree. I agree with that 100%. Um, what when you were married, um, was it important for you to get those years under your belt?
Yeah, I think it was a testimony. I think we were married for 22 years, and that was something to brag about to a certain degree. I remember just hoping to get to 20.
Mm.
Like, can we just get there? And literally, our 20th anniversary was nothing. Like, it was just another day, and then it continued to go downhill. I mean, it was already going downhill. The process had already started long before that,
Wow.
but yeah, I was hopeful because we had changed. We'd uprooted everything in our lives to move to a different place and start kind of fresh. And
Mm-hmm.
um, I was hopeful that that was going to change things, but I was also, I think, in my gut knew it was not going to change a damn thing.
Mm.
And actually, things just progressively got worse.
Okay. Do they call that a that year, the 20th year? Is that a certain year? Do they call that something like golden year or
25 is
something?
golden, I think.
Oh, that is. Oh,
Or
I don't.
yeah, I think 25 is.
I didn't
Or
mean
maybe
to.
50. Maybe 25 is silver. I don't know.
Oh, so it is like
Oh,
certain
every year
colors.
is something. Yeah, every year is something, but I don't know what 20 was.
Hmm.
I remember it was nothing to me.
Okay. I didn't know it was a color. Okay, so silver, gold, bronze.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. All right.
But I do think it, and I will say that in nowadays, I mean, if we're talking about actual marriages that have been officiated and stuff like that, it is a big accomplishment to in this society, in this culture, to stick with it.
Mm-hmm.
I think it is like a badge of honor to be proud of.
Hmm.
But
Okay.
but there's a caveat that it's a badge of honor if you're both still in it to win it and you're both still fighting for each other, fighting alongside each other, not with each other.
Mm.
And you're not in complete misery.
Got it.
Just holding on to it to try and get to the next year.
Whew. Whew.
Because I lived that a few years. So
Man, you talking right. Okay. Let me pull back. So, before I go further, you spoke about that badge of honor, that accomplishment. Um, I, I'm a I'm gonna play advocate for a minute.
mm-hmm.
Okay. When you reach that 20-year status, when you're telling someone, "Hey, I've been married for 20 years," and they kind of pull back and look at you different, like, "Wow, good
Mm-hmm.
job. You've been in this for 20 years." Do it make you feel pretty good when you say, "I've been doing this 20 years"? You know how when you when you ask someone about their job, "Hey, I've been in law enforcement for well over 25 years." Wow, for real? So does it make you feel better?
I think that, yeah, it gives you a certain amount of pride. But at the same time, for me, it was like, I know it's just, it ain't going to last much longer. Like, it's just hold on to,
I'm holding on. But
yeah,
yeah, 20 years. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, yeah,
I'm holding on.
yeah.
All right.
Gritting my teeth the whole time.
So when you say badge of honor, question, badge of honor, accomplishment.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I know people, and I'll even use myself for an example. I know people outside of, well, let me start with me. I went to Northern University. I have a degree,
Mm-hmm.
and the degree that I have, I'm not in the field in which my degree was.
Mm-hmm. Lots of people are
Um,
like that.
so when you say accomplishment, like we went through the ceremony, I have the cap and gown, I have the pictures, I have
Degree
the
on the wall.
degree on the wall, and it has nothing to do with my life today.
Yeah.
Is that how we're talking about this marriage thing? Like, I sat in for 20 years, I got the degree of marriage certificate on the wall. You can
And
see
it
the
has nothing to
year.
do with my life
Has
now.
no, it has nothing to do with my life today. Is that how we looking at these accomplishments? Like, long as we got it on the wall, or long as we got the T-shirt and the trophy to show for it? Like, because there's nothing outside of that.
So it's all about what other people see and not what we're feeling or what we're living. Is that what you're saying?
Yes,
Uh huh.
yes. Because I feel like I may have lived my life
To please others.
to please others for so many years.
Yeah.
How did that benefit me?
Well, obviously it didn't.
Right. So I don't know.
But and I don't want to talk like being, like we can come from a position of bitter Bettys, right? Because we
Mhm,
didn't survive it. Our
mhm.
marriages didn't survive it. But I don't want to come from that position. Like, I don't want people to think we're just blanketing all marriages as being miserable because they're not.
No, they
And
really aren't.
man, power to you and God bless you. Because if you're winning at it, that's a
That be
big
the
deal.
question I want to ask though. Like, what's the winning part? What's the part where
What
we can,
defines the win?
yeah, who stands the test of time? Even though, like, this is where I question myself by myself at times. I've been divorced for quite a few years, and I've sat and asked myself, Nate, could you have just stuck in there a little long? Can you have just really, really gave another 200-300 to that thing and really worked at it? Because you said, for better, for worse, for richer, for poor, in sickness and in health, forsaking all others till death. You said that.
Those are
And
man made vows, though,
absolutely. But I sat and looked at that woman and said that to her. So
right?
she believed me, I guess.
You can just say forever. That's all you got to say.
Absolutely.
Doesn't, yeah. The other stuff doesn't matter.
So I start questioning myself, like,
Yeah. Could I have done
could I
better?
have really just really buckled down and been like, man, I gotta fight for this. I gotta fight for this.
But
And
when
those
you're the
people,
only one fighting, it doesn't make a difference because one person can't pull the weight of both. Now, I don't know that you were the only one fighting or you would have been the only, but I know from my experience, there's no,
when it's just one
you
fighting.
can't drag it. You
I
can't
agree.
drag it through.
I agree. It's like a boat with a row on it. If one
You're
person
gonna go
stop
in
rowing,
circles.
yeah,
Yeah, and that's
real
what you
talk.
do, and it goes down like the toilet bowl.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does. And I'm glad. So that's why we're giving clarity of we're not putting down the marriage aspect. Like I really want to know the difference of those that have stand the test of time and they're not, just doing it or keeping it going just because they want people to see that they have this 20-year mark, 30-year mark, 40-year mark. Like, are you really loving that person still? Do you
What
still have a desire?
relationships evolve. They start out in the romantic honeymoon. Can't get enough of each other, all that stuff,
Mm-hmm.
and then it progresses, and hopefully there's friendship in there and all that. But it does evolve and it does change and all that as you
Because our bodies change. I get it.
progress.
I get it.
It's not just about our bodies, but yeah.
But our bodies do change.
Well, hell yeah, they do.
And that can be a key factor.
Yeah.
So that's why I wanted to challenge myself. Like, can I could I have pushed harder? Could I have I mean, of course we know the answer of just one person doing
Mhm.
it ain't gonna benefit. But those people that are there for those amount of years and they still desire each other and they still love each other and they still outside of the status quo, they still have this from day one honeymoon type of stage.
That's amazing.
I man, I salute that.
Yes.
How do you do that and express it in a way where others can see and want to gravitate to that? Because honestly, Sheb, we're not seeing that. Not in this day and age. That's why I want to talk about it here on this platform because we're not seeing that.
Yeah.
It's not
That's
being
true.
seen from people look at actors, people look at politicians, people look at sports athletes and stuff like that. We're just not seeing it.
No, not for the most part. That's true.
So what is it going to take? Should it be more about the ceremony or should it be more about covenant?
Well, I definitely think it needs to be more about covenant and not so much about ceremony.
Yes, ma'am.
But, in today's day and age, then there's going to be well, you don't have the legal backing, you don't have the legal support if something happens health-wise to that person. If they pass away, you don't have any rights to what you guys created together, blah blah blah.
Wow.
If you're not legally married, if you're not legally bound to each other. So that's where the covenant isn't enough.
Whoa, that's big. That's big. So that puts kind of a force. The way
Well,
I'm
it's a
saying it.
societal norm that
So
it's
if I love a person, or say you love a person, and you're not going to the route of the ceremony, but do you love them enough to just make those legalities? Um, uh, do you do it because of the legalities? Especially if you love that person, I want to make sure that this person that I've been with for X amount of years, I want if something was to happen to me, I want her taken care of.
right.
So do I have to make her? Do I have to change her last name? Give you an example. The guy that played his name is Chadwick Boseman. He played Black Panther, and nobody knew that he was married before he died,
Mhm.
and so they thought that was still his girlfriend. But she had to prove so much. And I'm looking at all these different things that took place, but she had to prove so much to show everyone that she was actually married to this guy
Mm.
to receive that stuff. But he had been with her some amount of years.
Hmm.
So what you're saying is like so true, and that kind of makes me feel like I'm forced now. Because if I love this person and something happened to me or her, then what?
Right. Well,
Because I'm legally bounded to my kids.
right.
You
And
know.
and there's insurance stuff, all that stuff that plays into the legalities of it all,
Mm-hmm.
which is important for some people.
It
That's
is.
you got to do it just because of those things.
You've been with somebody 10 years, man. You like, man, I don't want you to, and I don't have no rights. If they say, "Hey, do we pull the plug or don't pull the plug?" and you like, "Well, yeah," and they like, "I can't talk to you because you ain't the
Yeah, you're
wife."
not the POA. Yeah.
Ooh, that'll hurt.
Right.
So, do we get married because of that?
Some people have to make that consideration.
Mm. Shell. That's a huge, huge thing right there.
It is a big deal.
That is
And
that really is.
I think some people think that there's a comfort in the actual legal marriage because like that person can't leave you now. But they can. They can go do whatever they want. You just may not
Absolutely.
know about it, but
Right. I
it's
don't think
not
the
going to
paper.
stop somebody from being a shatia.
Yeah. I don't think the paper ever really stopped anybody from being.
No.
It's more of that's why I really, really push covenant because covenant convicts. Can I say that again? Covenant convicts. The covenant
Boom.
that God made when He sent His Son. His Son will, once you accept Him as your Lord and personal Savior, that's conviction. And so you think twice before you do that thing. That's what covenant is to me.
Mm-hmm.
So if I'm with a person and I'm in covenant with that person and I see the booty, I think twice because covenant convicts.
Convicts you. Puts that check in your spirit.
Yes, ma'am.
You ought
The
not do
paper,
that.
the paper is like, as long as she don't know.
Oh, ow. That's bad. Don't be like that.
You would think that we won't be like that, but I mean, some of us will think like that because what they don't know won't hurt them. So, married people, do you think right now that uh, sustaining a marriage in this culture can work? Sustaining.
What do y'all think? Because I can't answer that question.
What about people that are already married? Can they? I've heard, I've even seen people 20, 30 years, 40 years in get a divorce. Enough, 17 years was enough for me. Like that's 17 gone. That's almost a human
Mm-hmm.
of my life.
Yeah.
And you telling me it's got to go down the drain?
Mm-hmm.
And I gave that? Okay. So when you're doing 22, 40, 50, man, that's a lot to just say, hey, no, I'm good. I'm out of this. That's a lot.
I think it speaks to the history and the events that have occurred in that marriage.
Mm, you're right. You're right. So with that, Shelby, if I told you I want you to be my best woman in my in my ceremony, you're gonna be
Uh-huh.
the best woman. I don't have a best man. Do the best woman. You're gonna be the best. Well, Kirk gonna be the best man, but you're gonna
Well,
be the
wait a
best woman.
minute, because I thought we weren't doing weddings.
So if I decide to do the ceremony, I want you to stand
You want
up
me to
there and
stand there?
be the best woman.
If you want me to stand up there, I'll stand up there.
That's what I'm
Now, I don't
talking
know
about.
that your woman's
It
going to
ain't
want me
gonna
standing up
happen.
there, but
Yeah,
it ain't going
trust
to
me, it ain't
happen.
gonna happen. But I think that let's just let's just let's talk about the importance of covenant before we kind of tip into where that paper comes in, because covenant does establish longevity. I can't honestly say that a paper legally binding you together is going to be something that'll keep you together. Besides you saying you don't want to pay for a divorce or
But that's okay. So we have to separate the worldly from the spiritual because what I think most people believe that the marriage, which is a worldly situation, the wedding,
Mhm.
is going to keep them together
Mhm.
because they don't understand the significance which is
of
placed
covenant.
on covenant.
Uh,
So they're putting the significance on the actual marriage and not focused on the covenant that may already be there without the wedding ceremony.
mhm.
I mean, I can't say if you're not in a covenant relationship or you are. That's between you and him and God, but or you and her. But I think that worldly wise, people are focused and think that the wedding ceremony and the legalities of it do what the covenant should be focused on.
Mm. Yeah, you're right. Yeah. And so, what do we do about that?
And I mean, you're making vows in front of God, right? In the actual ceremony. That's what you're supposed to be doing.
That's what you're supposed to be doing.
Right. But you can make those vows without the wedding ceremony.
Man, you're taking the words I was about to say. I want you to say
You
it.
could save yourself a whole lot of money.
You really can. You can stand before that
But
person.
you don't have the legal support behind it.
Why would you need it?
Well, we just talked about that, the financial, the health care, the insurance, stuff like that.
For a vow? You need that for a vow?
No, but I'm saying for the marriage, if you
Oh.
need that in the marriage,
Oh, okay.
yes.
Okay.
You don't need your vow can be between you, God, and that person.
Right.
Right.
That's what I thought you for a vow. You need
No.
Okay. Okay. So you're telling me that, and this is not a approval. We're not, saying, hey, Shelby said, and she approved this message. Listen, so you're basically saying that you can have a vow setting with you and that loved one, that one that you love so much, and y'all can go stand outside in the park and make vows to one another, and then go down to City Hall and sign some papers for legalities.
Sure. If that's what you want to do.
Because that sounds like a better plan if you want to secure your future from a legal standpoint.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't see no other way. If I want to really secure that from a legal standpoint, that'd be the only way I do it. I'll be honest about it. If I'm gonna say, hey, you know what? Just because of the legal part, and I want to make sure that your name and my name, we in this thing from paper standpoint, we ain't got to tell everybody. We go to City Hall.
Yeah, but okay, so I just have to say from my personal standpoint, and I'm not convinced that I ever want to be married, quote unquote, again, but there's something about taking a man's name that is very significant to me.
Baby, names are important. Come on, talk about it.
And I would want to take the man's name, whoever I'm with, whether we're covenant or we're legally married. So that's kind of a thing that, that's part of the marriage ceremony or the wedding deal that I would still want to pursue, even if we were just doing a covenant situation. I would want to take his name because I'm proud of him and I want to be connected to him.
But you can go and do
in
a
the
name
worldly
change.
sense. Yeah, I know. I'm just saying out loud while you were talking about names. That just hit me that I would want to change my name.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Because you wouldn't have to do a ceremony to take a name.
No, I know. You just go down to the courthouse, change your name.
Mm-hmm.
But when you said that, it just struck me how important that is to me personally.
That is. And I remember telling my youngest daughter, baby, your name won't be my last name forever if you decide to be with someone else. I get that part. And I understand that. For women, that's major. I mean, we're the carriers of the name, but the woman, you take on that identity. Wow.
Yeah, you do. That's part of the submission.
Yeah, you take on that identity of that person.
Right.
Wow.
And you're saying you're connected to them.
Ooh, that's good.
In a very most significant manner.
Yes.
And I will say that, when I got divorced, I did consider going back to my maiden name, but the only reason I didn't was because of my children, and I didn't want people being confused that those were my children because they are my children.
Would their name have to change?
No.
Just yours?
Right, but I didn't want the disconnect between people not knowing me prior to the marriage and not knowing those are my kids because I changed my last name back.
Okay.
Because my kids are the most significant thing in my life, and I will not.
Okay. I got you.
Unless I get married again. Yeah.
Okay.
So I didn't go back to my maiden name because I wanted people to know those are my kids.
I never thought about that with my ex-wife, and I don't even know if she want to change her name or not. But I believe if she get married again,
yeah, she will.
Her name will change. But I didn't even think about if she want to go back to her maiden. It don't really matter to me. But that is an identity that you take on. You really do. For the woman, you take on that. Wow. Never thought about that. So married people, man, there are some benefits in this thing, huh? There are some benefits. Um, Last thing I want to ask Shelby is it a deal breaker when so many years have been established? Like I've heard people, especially men, when they say if it get to a certain year, I'm not divorcing you. Do you believe that that should be established? Like if we got to 20,
Well, that's something that y'all have to agree on yourselves because I don't. I never, I honestly, if I'm honest, I never, ever, ever, ever expected myself to be a divorced person, ever. I was committed and I am fiercely loyal. And I rung every bell I could ring to get the situation better.
mm-hmm.
So I never expected to go through a divorce. Um, I probably would have, if I had had that mindset, I probably would have been one of those people that said, after so long, I'm not, I'm just committed to this and it is what it is.
Wow.
But things had considerably gotten worse. And I did not see, there was no hope. There was no hope left for me in that situation. And we know what happens when hope is gone.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Hmm.
So I think if you still have hope, then yeah, you're still good and you need to keep pursuing.
So hope is the
Key in everything.
key.
Mm-hmm.
That is the key. I agree with that. You just said something we might have to wait till next podcast to talk about. I want to ask people, especially like yourself, what does it mean? I've heard a phrase growing up called loyal to a fault.
Mm-hmm.
You ever heard that?
That was me.
I want to know what that means. I want to talk about it on this one, but I really, really want to tap into that because you said fiercely loyal, like you were loyal
Mm-hmm.
and nothing could change that. I want to talk about that. But I'm guessing in marriage, is that the type of loyalty that we're supposed to have?
I think so.
Mm. Anything else in that loyalty? Should you be loyal to your kids?
Absolutely.
What about loyal to your church?
I think you should. I honestly think you should. If you're involved in a church, I think you should be loyal to your church.
Well, okay. One more. What about loyal to your job?
I'm old school, so I think commitment is important to everything.
Okay.
Once you commit, you're committed.
So loyalty and commitment kind of carries both the same weight?
I think so.
Got it.
I think loyalty means more like you'll fight for it though, like you're going to fight for it. Commitment means you're there and you're going to be consistent to me. But loyalty is more fierce.
Mm. It's the fight.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay. Good deal. Thank you, Shell. Man, you helped me on this one. It made me think about just marriage, period. And I put in a lot of time.
Mm-hmm.
I want to say I was loyal. The fierce loyal, maybe not, because after a while I was like, yeah, I'm out. It ain't working, I'm out. And mentally, me being out mentally, it became more about just the preliminaries. I can do the acts all day long, but mentally I was out.
You were checked. Yeah, checked out.
Yeah, and I don't think that's fair to anyone.
Mm-mm.
Ladies and gentlemen, please, that's not fair. That's not fair to anyone to check out and they don't know that you checked out. That's bad.
But at least you acknowledge it. I think
didn't
there's a
at
lot of
first.
people that live
didn't
that
at
way and they
first.
don't acknowledge it.
Yeah, yeah. And I can admit that I didn't at first. I checked out and I looked at her so many times wanting to tell her that I checked out and I didn't
Mm.
because I guess I didn't want to hurt her.
Mm-hmm. But you were hurting her anyways.
I was. And hurt myself too.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah. Hindsight's 2020.
yes, ma'am. So thank you, Shell, man. That was an intense one to really talk about because we want married people to understand the importance of it should be covenant.
Yeah.
Don't hang in there for a piece of paper. What happens when that piece of paper burns?
Hmm.
Or We said those people that stood up there with you, are they still standing with you? Are they still there supporting you? So this was a hard one, but I'm glad we got through it, Shell. Breathe. Breathe. We got through this thing. Breathe. Glad we talked about it. Anything you want to add?
No, I think I think marriage or relationships, whatever that last, are amazing,
Yes.
beautiful things. I appreciate them much more now than I did when I was in one.
Mm. So we can agree that what God has put together.
Let no man put asunder.
Amen.
It's a beautiful thing.
It's a beautiful thing from the words of Shelby. Hey, listen, this has been Word of Mouth Podcast with Nate and Shelby, man. We love you. We appreciate you. We'll see you soon.
Love you.